She thought he was just the librarian, a quiet man who spent his days shelving books, fixing broken chairs, and helping strangers find stories they needed. She had no idea that his name was on the deed to the entire building. And when she finally discovered who he really was, she realized something even more surprising. For weeks, he had been quietly watching how she treated people who could do absolutely nothing for her. Before we begin, subscribe to Kindness Library, like this video, and tell us in the comments, do you believe one small act of kindness can completely change someone's life? Now, let's begin. Emily Carter was 28 and had recently moved to a small town in Ohio after losing her job in Chicago. She had spent nearly all her savings trying to start over, but nothing seemed to work. Every morning, Emily visited the old Franklin Street Library with her laptop and a cup of cheap coffee. She applied for jobs using the free Wi-Fi because she couldn't afford internet service in her tiny apartment. That was where she met Daniel. Daniel looked like an ordinary librarian in his early 50s. He wore simple shirts, dark pants, and an old silver watch. Emily often saw him pushing a cart filled with books or helping elderly visitors use the computers. "Good morning, Emily," he would say. "Morning, Daniel." Emily assumed he worked there. One rainy afternoon, Emily was sitting near the back window when she noticed Daniel struggling with a heavy box of donated books. She immediately closed her laptop. "Wait. Let me help you." Daniel smiled. "You have work to do. It can wait." Together, they carried the box into a storage room. Daniel thanked her, but Emily shrugged. "You help everyone around here. Someone should help you sometimes." Daniel remembered those words. A few days later, Emily arrived at the library looking exhausted. She had just received another rejection email. Daniel noticed. "Bad day?" "Bad month," Emily replied with a weak smile. Daniel pulled out a chair. Emily told him about losing her job, falling behind on bills, and sending applications to dozens of companies without receiving a single opportunity. Daniel listened quietly. Then he asked, "Why do you keep coming back here?" Emily looked around the library. "Because this place feels safe. Nobody cares how much money you have here. Everyone gets to sit at the same tables and read the same books." Daniel smiled. That's exactly what a library should be. The next morning, Emily noticed an elderly man standing outside in the cold. His clothes were worn, and he seemed embarrassed to enter. Emily opened the door. "You can come inside. It's warm." The man hesitated. "I don't have a library card." "You don't need one to sit down." Emily bought him a coffee from the machine with the last few dollars in her purse. Daniel watched from behind a bookshelf. Emily never knew. A week later, Daniel found her helping a young boy with his homework while the boy's mother filled out job applications. Another afternoon, Emily gave up her favorite window seat to a pregnant woman. She never posted these moments online. She never asked for recognition. She simply noticed people. Then everything changed. One Monday morning, Emily entered the library and saw several people in expensive suits standing near the front desk. Daniel was with them. But he wasn't shelving books. Everyone seemed to be waiting for him to speak. Emily approached quietly. "Daniel, what's happening?" One of the men looked surprised. "You call Mr. Bennett Daniel?" Emily froze. "Mr. Bennett?" The man smiled. "Daniel Bennett owns this building." Emily stared at Daniel. "You own the library?" Daniel nodded. Years earlier, Daniel had built a successful real estate company. After his wife passed away, he purchased the old library building when the city considered closing it. Instead of turning it into expensive offices, he allowed the library to remain and funded much of its operation himself. "But why are you always working here?" Emily asked. Daniel smiled. "Because owning a building tells you nothing about the people inside it," Then he handed Emily an envelope. Inside was an invitation for an interview at the Bennett Foundation. Daniel explained that the foundation was starting a program to help unemployed parents, struggling families, and young people access education and job training. "We need someone to manage it," he said. Emily shook her head. "But I don't have experience running a foundation." Daniel smiled. "I can teach someone how to manage a program. I can't teach someone to care about people." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Why me?" Daniel looked toward the elderly man she had helped weeks earlier. "Because I watched you when you thought nobody important was watching." Emily accepted the interview and eventually got the job. Over the next year, the program helped hundreds of people prepare resumes, learn new skills, access computers, and find employment. But Emily never forgot where everything began. Not with a job interview. Not with Daniel's money. Not even with the library. It began with carrying a box for a man she thought was just an employee. Years later, whenever someone asked Daniel why he trusted Emily with such an important program, he always gave the same answer. She was kind before she knew kindness could reward her. And maybe that is the kind of kindness the world needs most. Because we never truly know who is standing beside us. The person who looks ordinary may be carrying an extraordinary story. The stranger who needs help today may change your life tomorrow. But kindness should never depend on who someone is, how much money they have, or what they can give us in return. Treat people well when nobody is watching. Hold the door. Offer the seat. Carry the box. Listen to someone who feels invisible. A small act may seem meaningless to you, but to someone else, it could be the moment that reminds them there is still goodness in the world. And sometimes, the kindness you quietly give away finds its way back to you when you least expect it.